Okay, I'm back again for another chakra meditation session. This time I thought I'd go through the throat chakra. And this is something that I've had difficulties with over the years. And sometimes energy can actually get blocked within the throat. And when we're doing the breath work, if you've done any of the breath work with me over the last few days, where we pull the energy in right from the base of the spine through the base chakra and we send it up through that central channel through the body, you can actually experience a little bit of a blockage in the throat as that energy goes into the head, to the top of the head, and exits. And if you've had any kind of restriction in the throat, it could mean that you have a little bit of a blockage there in the throat chakra. And why is that? Well, the throat chakra is all about communication, but it's not just about communication that you have with others. It's about the communication that you have with yourself in your own mind. And if you think about it, here we go with thoughts again. If you think about it, as soon as you wake up in the morning, that monkey mind just starts going. And sometimes we're not really aware of it because we're not in that self-observation state. We're simply just going about our day. We're getting out of bed. We're going to the bathroom. We're going to get a cup of tea or coffee. And all of the time, the mind is thinking thoughts, da 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 da, and they're rolling on one after the other. Research tells us we have 70,000 thoughts on an average day, and 90% of those thoughts are on repeat from yesterday, the day before, the week before, the month before, probably from 10 years ago, and you're still thinking the same thoughts. All of that energy going into thoughts that are mostly completely useless. And the really sad part of our thought processes is that about 90 to 95% of those thoughts in most people, this is what research tells us, that the thoughts are actually negative. And that is a real worry. That's a real worry, that thoughts could possibly be made up of that much negativity. And there's nothing wrong, or don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a negative thought. It's how we actually start to resolve problems. It's that we need these negative thoughts so we can analyze, okay, what's happening there? It's not productive, or is it productive? What do I need to change? What can I do? Okay, so there's nothing wrong with negative thoughts. But when they're running in your mind 24/7, then it is an issue when you're not observant of them, because whether you're conscious of them or not, they're running all of the time. And that is why I guess the whole thing of meditation came about, because we need to quieten the monkey mind so that we can actually get in touch with our creativity, so that we can connect with a higher state of consciousness, so that we can actually move forward productively, rather than always have these minds running these thoughts running the show. So at the end of the day, you could ask yourself, if you're not conscious of the thoughts that you're having, who is running the show? So in meditation, we actually learn to become the observer of our own mind. And rather like when I used to teach science many years in secondary schools, I taught my science students to actually close their eyes and start to observe their own mind, observe the thoughts that were coming in, and to imagine those thoughts like clouds passing through the sky. And as the thought comes into the mind, not to be the judge and jury, not to analyze, and not to have an opinion about that thought, not to be thinking, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to be meditating. What's the thought doing there? Oh, I'm rubbish at this. No, but to simply observe the thought and, just like a cloud, allow it to drift on by. Now, you can think to yourself, well, it doesn't really drift on by, because if a thought comes into your mind that is really, really important to your present situation, then it's not going to drift on by like a cloud. But when you become observant of that thought, no matter how powerful it is, it loses its hold on you. It's no longer a part of your subconscious programming. You are conscious of that thought, and you are, as the observer, the master of your own mind. And you can decide whether this thought is productive or whether it is self-destructive. And when you do that, it loses its hold. And it does, rather like a cloud, drift on by. And then another one comes in, and then another. But as long as you're observing, you are the master of your mind. The problem is when the thoughts are running, 70,000 of them every single day, and you're not aware of them. Now, I was aware very much this morning of just going about my usual routine in the morning. I get ready for a yoga practice, I do a bit of meditation. And when I was doing this, I started to get anxious because my thoughts were of the future, and I was worrying about where I'm heading and how long this whole lockdown is going to go on for in Dubai. I mean, we're only allowed to go out once every 3 days now with a police permit to a supermarket, or if we need medical attention, that is it. The kids, they've been locked up the whole time. They're not even allowed to go along to the supermarket. They're not allowed to play out in the front street, so our immune systems, unless we're exercising indoors, we are going down the chute. And for all of these thousands of people that are living in apartments, I don't know what they're doing. They must be bouncing off the walls in there, unless they've got a treadmill, or they're doing some kind of practice in front of their TV screens or something like I do, with my yoga. So these are tough times. And if we don't take the time out to start observing our own mind and observing the thoughts that we're having, then we can have this problem within ourselves where our subconscious negative thought patterns are actually running the show for us. So today's short meditation, we're going to focus on the throat chakra, the center of communication, how we communicate with others, how we communicate in our mind with ourselves, and how we listen and observe. And when I say listen and observe, not only how do we listen to others, and many times you'll actually find that when you're listening to someone else talking to you face to face, you're not really listening because you're trying to think up of what answer you're going to give them. You're not really 100% listening. And just check that out next time you're chatting with a friend, next time we're allowed to go out and actually see a physical human being. Okay. Now, the other thing is, besides listening to others, it's about how often do we listen to ourselves. And that's what we do in meditation. We start to become the observer of our own mind. So if you've tried meditating before and you think, I'm rubbish at this because I keep thinking, no, you're not, because even the Dalai Lama, when he meditates, will have thousands of thoughts coming in because he has got an incredible amount of responsibilities. Does that make him bad at meditating? No, because thoughts are subconscious. They come into the mind. It's how you deal with them. It's, are you observant of them? Are you the master of your own mind, or is your subconscious programming running it for you? Okay, so to stimulate the throat chakra, we're going to learn a little breathing technique, and it's called Jie Breathing. And for those of you who do yoga, meditation classes, should actually be all under the yoga banner. It's really, yoga is meditation. But in this day and age, we've kind of separated. You go to a meditation class or you go to a yoga class where you go in your fancy lycra outfits and do these poses for an hour. But really, yoga is a whole amalgamation of yoga poses, of sitting quietly, watching thoughts, observing the mind, and doing mindfulness meditation. It all falls under the same thing. Okay, so we're going to do a breath called Jie Breathing Technique. And this is a very throaty breath. and it sounds like, you know that, what's his name? Dark Vader in Star Wars. And it's a real throaty breath. And it's where you constrict the throat. And it actually does feel like you're not breathing through the nose. It feels like you're actually breathing through the throat, because you can't really feel the air very much passing through your nose when you do this breath. It's quite unusual. Okay, so how we're going to learn this is we're going to practice, first of all, the Jie Breathing Technique through the mouth. And then we'll start to practice it through the nose, how it is actually going to be done when we start this. Okay, so just imagine a little bit of that you're taking the air in through a fat straw through your mouth. So on the inhale, and I hope you can hear that. That's why I'm wearing this little microphone, so you can pick up on that inhale. I'll do it again. So I'm constricting my throat, and I've got my mouth open, and I'm taking this throaty, deep inhale with a constricted throat. Okay, now the exhale is rather like you're going to fog up a mirror. So imagine that you're fogging up a little mirror in front of you. I'll do it again. And you can feel the moist air on your hand if you do that with me. So if you want to do it, if you're not feeling completely crazy like I am right now doing this, okay, so we inhale like we're sucking air in through a fat straw. And we exhale, fogging up the glass. And feel the warm air on your hand. So let's do that a couple of times again. On an inhale. Sounds a little bit like the ocean too, huh? Inhale. Okay, now the tricky part is now we're going to do it with the mouth closed and just through the nose. And keep focusing on the back of your throat, a little bit of constriction on the back of your throat. So here goes. And if you start to feel that, you'll really feel that the throat is working, and you wonder where that air is actually coming in and going out, because you can't really feel much going through your nose. It really is quite peculiar. So, okay, let's do this for a few breaths. So find a comfortable sitting position. I'm going to sit back a little bit, and hopefully this microphone is picking up my very deep, dark Veda breathing. Okay, so if you close your eyes, and let's try a few inhales and exhales. So we'll do this to a count of 4. So I'm going to be doing the counts for you and joining in a little bit with the breath. So I'll do the first breath with you and use my hand if you haven't got your eyes closed. So on an inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale through the throat. 2, 3, 4. Again, inhale. 1, 2, 3 through the throat. 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Really long, deep breaths. Pulling it in. 1, 2 through the throat. 3, 4, exhale. 2, 3, 4, inhale, Ujjayi breath. 2, 3, 4, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now at your own pace, breathing in, exhaling. And as you continue with that breath, you'll actually notice your mind and body starting to work together. Make these breaths as long and as deep as you possibly can. And as you're doing these breaths, your mind and body start to come into a state of coherence. And as you're doing this, you're activating parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest system. And as you do this, you're increasing the levels of serotonin, that feel-good chemical, that feel-good neurotransmitter into your bloodstream, and it's being delivered to all 50 trillion cells around your body. On this beautiful Ujjayi deep inhale and deep exhales. And finish the last breath you're on this Ujjayi breath. Focusing on the throat, on the air passing through the throat, making the sound. And if you have your eyes closed, that's cool. Just keeping your eyes closed now and relaxing your body into the chair you're sitting in. And if you'd like to, you can actually put your hands onto the throat chakra where we're focusing onto the throat chakra. And as you breathe in and out, just feel a little bit of constriction in the throat, especially if you do this Ujjayi breathing technique. Feel the throat shifting on the inhale and on the exhale. And just to complete this practice, as you hold the sides of your throat, you're going to feel the vibration of a mantra we're going to chant together, the universal sound of creation, which is the sound Om. So on every exhale, we're going to chant the sound Om. And if you have your hands, the palms of your hands or the tips of your fingers over your throat, just gently, and take a big deep inhale with me. Let's practice one together. So inhale, and then on the exhale, we're going to chant the sound Om. Inhale again. Let's do that again. Inhale, big deep inhale, filling the entire torso. And exhale with the chant Om. Om. And as you sit here relaxing, you can keep your fingertips on your throat and you'll really feel the vibration of this universal sound Om. So just to close this short little mindfulness session, We'll chant the mantra Om 3 times together. So big inhale. And simply relaxing the breath, feeling that vibration. And if you did that vibration of the sound Om out loud with me, you would have felt that vibration traveling through the torso, traveling through the body. And if you do that out loud with a little bit of gusto, with a little bit of intention, then that sound Om can really send a vibration all the way through the body. And in a lot of places where they practice yoga as a huge tradition, in India, there are places where they use the sound Om for healing. They place their hands on a patient that is suffering from an illness, and they all chant the sound Om, and they send this vibrational sound into the body of the patient, and it brings into harmony, into resonance, a healing transmission through the body of the people chanting and into the body of the patient. So there we go, a little bit of traditional healing with the sound Om. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes, placing your palms together in front of the heart. Namaste. From my heart to yours.